Season 4 finale. Dexter opens his bathroom door and finds Rita dead in the tub, the water completely red around him. On the floor is Harrison, a baby sitting in his mother's blood, wailing. The show immediately cuts to 2-year-old Dexter in a shipping container in 1973, sitting in his biological mother Laura Moser's blood after drug dealers chainsawed her apart. Same posture, same blood, same child left alone inside something they will carry forever. That cut was the entire argument of Harrison's arc, made before he could walk or speak. Everything that follows across New Blood, Resurrection, and whatever comes next in Season 2 is the franchise delivering on what it promised in that one visual juxtaposition in 2009. Subscribe now if you haven't already. Season 2 production starts April 13th, almost 2 weeks away now, at Sunset Pier 94 Studios in Manhattan, targeting a fall premiere around the 20th anniversary of the original October 2006 pilot. And every detail in this breakdown matters for how that season lands. But before the Harrison argument makes full sense, you need to understand what the franchise has actually been saying about the Dark Passenger for 20 years, because the complete picture is what makes Harrison's origin structurally impossible to dismiss. The Dark Passenger is not random. It is the specific documented product of a child witnessing a parent's violent death while physically immersed in the aftermath, and 3 characters in this franchise have experienced that exact sequence. All 3 became killers. Dexter was 2 years old when cartel enforcers herded Laura Moser and her sons into a shipping container. Santos Jimenez chainsawed Laura apart while Dexter and Brian watched. The boy sat in her blood for 2 days. By age 10, Dexter was killing neighborhood animals out of a compulsion. Harry brought in Dr. Evelyn Vogel, whose conclusion was unambiguous. The pathology could not be repressed, only directed. The code was not a cure, but a container. Harry killed himself after watching Dexter dismember Juan Reynos, a pimp who escaped justice on a technicality. He told Vogel on tape that no one deserves to be in pieces, even killers. The man who built the code could not survive watching what it looked like in practice. Now hold that detail because we will come back to it. Brian Moser is the franchise's answer to what this origin produces without intervention. No code, no Harry, no Vogel. Just the container and 20 years of institutional neglect. He became exactly what Dexter would have been without Harry's shaping. Harrison was found in Rita's blood before his first birthday. In New Blood Episode 7, he doesn't describe vague impressions of that night. He describes Arthur Mitchell stepping out of the bathtub, naked, covered in his mother's blood, looking down at him with satisfaction. Unlike Dexter, whose container memories were repressed for 30 years, Harrison has carried his mother's murder in conscious, accessible memory since before he had vocabulary to describe it. He and Hannah McKay, until Hannah died, then foster care, then a letter Dexter wrote expressing love for his son, which Harrison used to track his father to Iron Lake. Same mechanism, 3 different outcomes depending entirely on what comes after. Harry shaped Dexter into someone functional, but never truly human. Nothing shaped Brian, and Harrison got fragments of the code from a man who had already broken it, delivered in a context of abandonment and intermittent violence. The Dark Passenger was always coming for Harrison because the exact conditions the franchise uses to explain it happened to him in a form that mirrors Dexter's almost exactly. The argument was never whether it happened, it was always what it would produce. And what New Blood produced is considerably more interesting than most analysis has registered, because the show wasn't just confirming the inheritance, it was revealing the one quality that makes Harrison categorically different from every killer this franchise has ever built. New Blood confirmed the Dark Passenger in Harrison through a graduated canonical sequence, and the most important thing that evidence revealed was not that Harrison has the urge to kill, but that he has a conscience that overrides it in ways that Dexter simply never did. Episode 4 is the canonical pivot. Harrison attacked Ethan from behind, sliced his femoral artery, the exact cut Trinity used on female victims, and stabbed himself to manufacture a self-defense narrative. He had Trinity's straight razor hidden in a flashlight. He targeted the specific artery associated with his mother's murder using the specific tool associated with her killer. When Dexter finds the razor, his reaction is the smile. The Dark Passenger has a moral direction, retributive rather than random, and he's looking at himself at 10 years old, finally found. The Kurt Caldwell kill in Episode 9 makes Harrison a willing participant. They inject Kurt together, bring him to his trophy room, kill him among his preserved victims. Harrison's reaction is not horror, he processed it, not reluctantly. Then, Logan died. Dexter snaps his neck, escaping a holding cell, and Harrison, in the snowy field, delivers the line that defines his entire arc. Open your eyes and look at what you've done. Clyde Phillips confirmed this directly echoes a line from the 2006 pilot. Harrison uses his father's own language to hold his father accountable. Dexter agrees. He tells Harrison how to take off the safety, just like I showed you, and Harrison says, "For both of us," before pulling the trigger. He is shooting because he has reached the same diagnosis the franchise had been building toward for 8 seasons. The Dark Passenger does not serve the code. The code serves the Dark Passenger. Harrison can see this because he has the wound and the capacity, but not the need in the same absolute unrelenting form. The gap is the foundation everything in Resurrection is built on. New Blood confirmed the Dark Passenger through specific canonical evidence. The razor, the ephemeral cut, the Kurt kill. It simultaneously confirmed Harrison has something Dexter never consistently had: restraint from moral clarity rather than methodological caution. Dexter's restraint is rule-based. Rules can always be bent. Harrison's held even when his father's life was the thing at stake. Deborah knew and could not kill Dexter. Harrison knew and could. The difference between those two outcomes is the most significant character distinction in the franchise's history, and Resurrection had to decide what to do with it. What Resurrection did with it starts with a dead body in a hotel bathroom, and the most precise proof the franchise has ever produced about what Harrison's inheritance actually feels like from the inside. Ryan Foster's death in episode 1 proves 2 entirely different and equally necessary things simultaneously, confirming the Dark Passenger is still operational, while the aftermath proves Harrison's experience of acting on it is categorically different from Dexter's in the specific way that separates someone becoming Dexter from something the franchise has never produced before. Foster is a repeat sex offender at the Empire Hotel. He gets a female guest named Shauna into his room. Harrison intervenes, gets the upper hand, could stop there. Foster is on the ground. Then Foster looks up and jokes, casual and unbothered, that there are more women out there. Harrison picks up the toilet tank lid and brings it down with full force. The lid breaks on Foster's skull. He looks at himself in the mirror covered in blood and says one word: fuck. This is not relief, this is horror. He rolls down Shauna's dress before anything else, then cuts the body into 9 pieces. Dexter's specific dismemberment signature, absorbed by watching his father work in New Blood. When Dexter investigates 2 episodes later, he finds no visible blood and registers quiet pride. 9 pieces is the number that leads Dexter to Harrison, his own signature applied by his son in a crisis. Then the aftermath, nightmares replaying the snowy fields, hallucinations of Foster's damaged face in hotel corridors, Foster's watch ticking no matter where Harrison puts it. Locked in the safe, he can still hear it. In episode 5, he tells Dexter directly he got no release from killing Foster, not partial, not muted, nothing. For Dexter, a kill is resolution. For Harrison, the kill produced only cost. Dexter's response is the most important thing he says in Resurrection. This sounds like a hot temper and hero complex, not a Dark Passenger. Harrison has a fundamental goodness he himself lacks. He compares Harrison to Deborah, enormous emotional reaction, sometimes dangerous, but a genuine moral North Star that never wavered. You are more like Deb than me. The capacity is there, the wound, the intelligence, the methodology, but acting on it produces rupture for Harrison, where it produces resolution for Dexter. That is the specific difference between someone who inherits a darkness and someone constitutively defined by it. Episode 1 confirms the inheritance. Episode 5 complicates it in exactly the right direction. The wound transferred, it does not produce the same person twice. But if Harrison isn't becoming Dexter, he is becoming someone equally important to this franchise, and Resurrection has been writing that argument into structure since episode 1. Resurrection has been systematically repositioning Harrison away from being a younger Dexter and towards being a functional successor to Harry Morgan, the man who built a code around Dexter's darkness to keep it from destroying everyone around it. In episode 7, Harrison attends a lecture by Detective Wallace, the detective circling him as a suspect all season, and tells Dexter he wants to become a police officer, not forensic analysis, not blood spatter, a police officer, like Harry and Deborah before him. Dexter connects it to both explicitly. What the scene makes clear is that Harrison is specifically not choosing his path. Dexter's position inside Miami Metro gave him proximity, access, and institutional cover, the position of someone using a system. Harrison is choosing the position of someone who believes in it. The Vinny Valente scene in episode 6 shows what Harrison's compass looks like in real time. Dexter sets up a kill room for Vinny, a slumlord allowing toxic mold in children's bedrooms. At dinner with the affected family, Harrison has a vivid hallucination of stabbing Vinny at the table. He pulls back, does not call Dexter. His restraint held even when the urge had a fully justified target right in front of it. And that is the line the franchise has never had a Morgan hold before. Harrison's full name is Harrison Morgan III, named after Harry Morgan. The franchise named this character after the man whose function he is now inheriting before Harrison was old enough to understand what that function was. The Harry Morgan function has always been consistent, someone who sees Dexter clearly, loves him regardless, and builds structure around the darkness to contain it. Harrison has the clear-sightedness and love that function has always required. He can see what Dexter is, he comes back anyway, and he is now moving into law enforcement carrying both proofs simultaneously. Harrison becoming a police officer is not a departure from his dark passenger inheritance. It is the only answer this franchise has not yet tried, operating inside the system while knowing everything about what operates outside it. But before Season 2 could build towards that answer, the franchise had to prove Harrison's arc required Dexter in the room, and the story of a shelf spinoff tells you exactly why. The abandoned Harrison-led spinoff is not a footnote, it is a confirmation that Harrison's arc is relational by design. The argument the show is making about him only becomes legible when pressed against the thing it is arguing against. After New Blood's finale, Showtime developed a Harrison spinoff with Jack Alcott as the new protagonist. It was in active development until Michael C. Hall agreed to return. Clyde Phillips confirmed the spinoff was shelved and folded into Resurrection. Every significant moment in Harrison's arc operates through the relational dynamic with Dexter. His anger traces to Dexter's abandonment, his violence to Dexter's failure to kill Trinity earlier. His methodology echoes Dexter's techniques. His career decision is described as inspired by Dexter. Remove Dexter, and Harrison is a young man making decisions in a vacuum. Keep Dexter present, and Harrison is defining the boundaries of his own identity in real time, using his father as the boundary he's working against. Phillips confirmed Harrison will not be killed off, justifying it simply, if we were to kill Harrison, then who's Dexter? Resurrection became Showtime's most streamed premiere at 4.4 million views in its first week. The audience came back for both of them together. The most important scenes in Resurrection are not Harrison scenes or Dexter scenes, they are Harrison and Dexter scenes. The relational structure is not a limitation on Harrison's character, it is the specific story the franchise is telling about the second generation of this particular inheritance. The spinoff failed because the argument requires the thing it is arguing against to be present. Season 2 has to honor that dynamic while pushing it towards a resolution that will permanently change both of them. And that final monologue is where the whole structure becomes unstable, because what Dexter says he needs from Harrison in Season 2 is the exact thing that will make Harrison's cop path impossible to sustain. The Season 1 finale monologue is Dexter's most honest self-articulation since the original series, and it inadvertently describes a relationship with Harrison carrying the same structural instability as the one Harry Morgan built, which eventually required either Dexter's death or Harry. The monologue, now I have Harrison, he can lean on me, and when my darker urges start to swell, I can lean on him to become more human. I am Dexter Morgan, I'm exactly who I need to be. Dexter is positioning his son as his anchor, the same role Harry occupied until Harry saw Dexter dismember someone and killed himself 3 days later. The same role Deborah played until she killed LaGuerta and was destroyed by the contradiction. Harrison is now being positioned for that same role while simultaneously enrolling in criminology and touring a police college. Batista's death in episode 9 is the franchise's direct answer to the promise that Harrison's influence will keep innocence from dying. Batista is dead because Dexter survived New Blood and went to New York. Harrison knows that. He asks whether Dexter killed Batista before Dexter could speak, because that is now his default assumption. Harrison enters Season 2 in a professional world mourning Batista, with Quinn almost certainly coming from Miami asking questions, Detective Wallace still investigating, and Don Fremd, the confirmed Season 2 Big Bad, still active. The monologue describes Dexter's needs accurately. What it does not account for is that Harrison, building the legitimate life Dexter says he wants for him, is simultaneously building the institutional apparatus most capable of identifying and stopping what Dexter is. Dexter finishes Season 1 having fully accepted himself. Harrison finishes Season 1 having committed to a path that will require him to decide what that acceptance means for his own future. Those trajectories are headed directly towards each other. Filming, once again, starts in about 2 weeks on April 13th, 2026. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Harrison ends Season 2 wearing a badge while covering for Dexter? Or does the cop path force the same confrontation the field did? That answer is the Season 2 engine. Harrison Morgan was born in blood. not as metaphor, as documented fact in a Miami bathroom in 2009. The straight razor, the ephemeral cutting replicating his mother's murder rule, the willing participation in Kurt's kill, the 9-piece disposal of Ryan Foster, the hallucinatory haunting that followed, the restraint at the dinner table, the decision to go back into Prater's vault, the criminology tour. Every single choice flows from that bathroom with a consistency too exact to be anything other than the franchise delivering on what it promised in Season 4. He is not becoming Dexter. He is becoming what Harry always wanted Dexter to be and never fully built. Someone who carries the darkness without being defined by it, who moves towards justice rather than release, who can see his father clearly and love him anyway, at least not yet. Season 2 will test whether that position is actually sustainable, because a cop and a serial killer Dexter in the same city with Batista's death between them and Quinn coming from Miami is a specific configuration the franchise has been building since a baby was found crying on the bathroom floor 16 years ago. In case you forgot, production starts April 13th, 2026. Harrison Morgan is going to be pursuing a law enforcement career in a city where his father is still dumping bodies in the harbor. That conversation is coming, and if this breakdown has given you the full context of what it means, hit subscribe, because when those Season 2 episodes start dropping, every single thing covered here is going to matter.